Hey, English 3 Online. Welcome to week 12, November 9th through the 13th. This is what you're doing this week. I really hope that you watch these because they're super helpful. And if you don't watch them, then you are not going to know anything about these videos and what's helpful because you wouldn't have heard me say that. Okay, I'll stop being weird. I don't know why I said that. Okay, so week 12. Now, I record these ahead of time, so these assignments will be posted for you by the time you watch this. They're grayed out right now because I have them scheduled. Okay, I'm making this on Friday, but by the time you watch this, it will be at least Monday the 9th. So here is what you're doing. Actually, for a second, let's back up and talk about last week, week 11. Last week, you did 3 things for me, okay? We ended research in the previous 9 weeks. We are starting argument. It's going to be argument light edition because we only have 5 weeks to do this, and that's not a lot of time. So you are juggling multiple things. You are reading excerpts of Fahrenheit 451, which I'm providing for you in these attachments, and you are reading your independent novel, and you can choose Fahrenheit for that if you'd like to read it in its entirety. And on the side, we are also doing ACT prep, okay, with this no reading. So it can be a lot if you're not keeping up with it, if you are being a procrastinator. The first thing you should have done, if you notice Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you should start with Monday always, is you do this introduction to Fahrenheit 451 and you choose your independent novel. This was last week. I also attached last week's video, hoping that maybe you would watch it. And I gave you a calendar. I told you to put this in a safe place so that you see what's coming up. This is another way that I'm trying to support you as an online learner, is being very transparent with week to week. Can I promise that I'll do this every unit? I don't know. I hope so. But this unit, I got it going. So these are the things you did last week in week 11. You did an intro to Fahrenheit 451. You selected your independent novel. This was an assignment. And then you read your first excerpt and paired text and analyzed those. And then you did your no red ink ACT prep. Let's talk about the no red ink thing. I've only had one student complete this thus far, and it's Friday, and this is due Sunday. I did have a student email me and say that they could not log in. If you are having trouble, you need to email me immediately, and I will try to get you in. You cannot complete further no red ink assignments unless you do this diagnostic test, okay? So if you're of the mindset that you'll just skip this one and, take an L on it and you'll just keep doing others, it will not let you do this week's ACT prep unless you complete this diagnostic test. I can't even assign it to you in no red ink. It's how their system's set up. Plus, these practice tests that you're going to start doing, it's not really a test, it's more just like a practice thing. These practice sets that you're going to start doing, they are specific to you and how you do on this diagnostic test. So if you are struggling with commas, your practice test is going to be heavily throwing questions at you that deal with commas. So it's very specific to you, and it can't create your set unless you've done this. So I'll quit harping on that, but you have to complete this diagnostic test first, okay? There are some Google slides here that tell you how to sign up. Please look at these. Don't just go to noredink.com because I don't know that you'll be able to join my class that way. Follow these Google slides, and then there's a link here straight to the class too. I just linked it here in case the link in the slideshows doesn't work. It's the same link, so it should. Anywho, that's last week. This week, if you've completed all that, you will have your first independent novel question. So hopefully you've been reading. It says, while you have begun reading your independent novel, you should have an idea about how your specific text approaches free knowledge and censorship. Now, an independent novel is something that you have to be disciplined in keeping up with. So even though your assignments on Google Classroom right now are very small in regards to that independent novel, later down the road, you're going to have to use your own novel to write an argumentative essay. And I'm talking soon. I'm talking right after we come back from Thanksgiving. You have to be using that independent novel and the information in it. So I hope that you're reading. I would set aside time. You could even do it each day that our class meets. You could follow this calendar that I've given you. And if we meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would set aside maybe 30 minutes each Monday, Wednesday, Friday to just read my book. It also depends on how long your novel is. I put a note here that says you should finish the book by November 30th. So if today's the 9th, if today is Monday the 9th when you're watching this, you need to have your book finished in 1, 2, 3 weeks. Okay, so set yourself up for success with that, and pace yourself out with it. It's going to be really difficult if you wait until the 27th to just crack that book open. Plus, you will have, plagiarized on all these mini assignments. So anyway, your first assignment this week, it says, while you've just begun reading your novel, you should have an idea about how your novel approaches free knowledge and censorship. Answer in 5 to 7 sentences and provide examples for your independent novel. And your question for that, those are the instructions. Your question will be, how is access to knowledge portrayed? How has the idea of censorship come into play? In the beginning of Fahrenheit 451, we see that immediately. Guy Montag is discussing how they burn books. Well, books provide us with knowledge. So with that one in particular, I could discuss heavily how access to knowledge is portrayed. Well, they don't want people having access to knowledge. They're censoring their society. And I could give examples from that based on the beginning of the book. So that's your question. Other people can see these. I put it on there on purpose. We're going to start doing argument. So you should, maybe that'll create some pressure to make a good argument on your behalf. And then again on Monday, so you have this question, and then you have analysis of a Fahrenheit 451 excerpt. This will be your second one since you did your first one last week. And a letter by author Kurt Vonnegut. You'll analyze those, and then you'll do your practice set on Wednesday. So lots of work. This has to be more enjoyable than research. So that kind of should be some solace for you, is that this is a topic that I think most of you will be engaged in. I give you a big note in all caps here. If you've not completed the diagnostic test from last week, you will have to finish that first. Once you've completed it, email me and I will set you up a practice test, which is for this assignment. Okay. So that is this week, week 12. 3 assignments. And then the next week will look very similar. The next week you'll do another question over your independent novel. I'll have a lesson on there about argument for you, probably a YouTube video. And then you will work with Parlay, and we'll discuss that further next week. Parlay is the platform you're going to start writing your arguments on and debating with each other. You'll do another no red ink practice set based on your results from this one, and then you'll have your third paired Fahrenheit 451. And then Thanksgiving break. And then after we come back from Thanksgiving break, you have to be finished with your novel, because you will not be able to complete your summative assessment if you're not. And that's how close this is. I mean, we have 2 weeks after Thanksgiving break, and you have to do your summative in that time. So you have to get that book done. There's not a lot of time for you to lag behind, procrastinate. If something's going on, you can always email me. I am the most sympathetic, understanding human being. I like to think that anyway. So, I'll work with you, but just know that I cannot change the calendar and what you have to learn this semester. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well. And I really like this class. I liked the first week we had together. And I'm here if you need me. So Thanksgiving's right around the corner. So just keep going, keep the faith, keep working, and we'll be there before we know it. Bye, guys.